In today's video, we're going to be making these beautiful earrings, and all you need are 2 beads and some wire. So let's get started. For this project, I'll be using some silver 20 gauge wire. You'll also need 2 beads of your choice. I'm choosing 2 8mm faceted turquoise beads. I like this size and I absolutely love this color. Being faceted, when the light hits it, it gives it a nice glimmer to it, as you can see right over here. And so you can pick this size, or you can choose smaller or larger beads. You'll also need 2 earring hooks to finish off the project. For tools, we'll need 1 round nose plier. You'll need a flush cutter or a wire cutter. Either one will do. And of course, last but not least, a flat nose plier. As you all know, if you've been watching my videos, I like to work with the one that's bent. Right here, I'm going to be using my ring mandrel. You can use just about anything to go ahead and put your wire through. You'll need something that's solid and strong to go ahead and wrap your wire around to make your circle. So the first step here is to cut ourselves a piece of wire. I like to measure about 8 inches or so I have plenty of space to work with. Once we have that measured and cut out, we can go ahead and start wrapping it around our round object. And again, for me, it's my ring mandrel. You'll want to use slight pressure and just make 2 loops. Here goes the first one. We're gonna pull it on the other side. And then let's wrap it one more time on this side so we have some extra pieces to work with. And hopefully you get a nice circular pattern. It should look something like this. And right about here, we're going to go ahead and trim off that excess wire. And what we're going to be left with is these loops right over here. We're going to pull them apart slightly so that we have some space to work with, and go ahead and put our small loop, and then go ahead and grab your round nose pliers here, and we're going to make a single small loop, and you can go ahead and loop that specific one right towards you. And there's your little small loop, and it should look something like this right about now. Right about here, we're going to take the opposite loop that we have, and we're going to go ahead and cut some piece off. And I would say take about 1 inch off. And once you cut that off, it should look something like this. Now we can go ahead and start working with our beads. Go ahead and cut 2.5 pieces of the silver wire again, and bead one end right through, just as I'm showing here. You're going to take your round nose plier, and we're going to start curling and making a swirl. You can do that just as I'm showing here towards you. And don't be scared to make a mistake. You always have time to adjust. You can always go back and twist it this way and that way. Just go ahead and start looping. Once you have a little loop that looks like this, you can go ahead and use your flat nose plier to go ahead and maybe flatten that if you want to make it a little bit stronger. Or you can leave it just as is. It's entirely up to you. It's absolutely not necessary. But if you want to do that, I can show you right here. And you just take your flat nose plier and just smash it, and then adjust it to whatever direction that you like it. And that just makes the wire a little bit stronger, as if you were pounding it with a hammer. And then we can go ahead and start working on our opposite side of the wire, and we're going to do pretty much the exact same thing. Trim it and then go ahead and start your loops. And so this time you'll want to start your loops the opposite direction, and there's a reason why. You'll find out soon here. So if your loops were going to the right, you'll want to go to the left in this time, and vice versa. And when you're finished, it should look something like this. So you've got your bead in the center and a nice little decoration on top and bottom with little loops. And now we're going to start putting things together and going right back to the original piece that we made. We're going to open up that top little loop and we're going to go ahead and feed it right through here. And this is that part where I talked about why you want to loop your loops opposite directions, because you're now going to take that top one, you're going to put it facing towards you. So if your little swirl on the bottom is flat, you'll want the top one to be facing you, because when you put it onto the loop of the big circle that we just made, you'll want that to dangle freely and to show. Just like this. So we're almost there. Now you're gonna close that loop and make sure it's nice and secure, that your bead is just dangling there with some space, but the design is already there. And now we start putting the final touch, and we're gonna go ahead and work with that opposite wire. Go ahead and trim it down and kind of estimate how much you need just to make an additional loop. And this time we'll be bringing the loop towards us. So the opposite way that you initially made the loop that you were hanging your bead on, you're going to make an opposite loop going the other direction. Just like this, see that? So one's going one direction, the other is opposite. So now you can kind of see it, it's almost finished here. We have one last step, and that's going to be to go ahead and get your earring wire, your hooks, open them up and bead it through that last loop that you just did up on the top there. Go ahead and close your loop, and this is a great time to go ahead and make some adjustments. If you need to put it back on your mandrel or whatever it is that you're using to reshape that circle, you can do that. But look how cute this came out. And of course, you can just repeat the process to make your other one. Don't be so focused on it being perfect. It's practice makes perfect, and it's gonna look adorable no matter what. I'm gonna try to get a little video here so you guys can actually see it hanging. And I really hope you make these. They're really sweet. I really hope you guys liked the video. If you did and it was useful to you, if you can like and subscribe, I'd love to have you join our group. And let me know in the comments what you think of these earrings.